Okay, so this is the sort of accompanying video to the Thok Madness Maxistorized Does Everything Wrong video. Um, I just figured I'd make another video. It's a little bit easier than writing stuff down in an organized fashion, which I'll probably do too as well on both of the videos. Um, but I also wanted to have a little bit more time to go into what was actually happening and all the hustle and bustle of that video. Uh, so I've tried to do this before. I'm not good with retakes. I'm not good with organization. I think I probably would have mentioned that 7 times. So rather than go through every ability here, um, because I don't even know the prioritization anymore, as far as pure DPS build or even just DPS. Um, but I do know sort of what abilities and how I tend to use them. But I also wanted to cover, because I never have really, what I'm actually doing as far as taking things that aren't necessarily uh, being taken for DPS purposes. It just so happens that these talents tend to be pretty good for DPS, though they might not be optimal. I don't think they are actually, especially given my gear level. But so I just wanted to go over a few of the tricks, right? Because so if I cast a chain heal, I just cast a chain heal on myself. What am I getting? It's a 72k crit. It's a 36k heal. That's not. How does that compare? To a Resto Shaman's heal on a chain heal, or even an Ellie Shaman. An Ellie Shaman's generally going to have more spell power, at the same gear level. Not that much more. I've got pretty high spell power. Again, we get spell power from our attack power, I want to say. I believe it's not agility. So what is it here? 65% of your attack power becomes spell power. Um, so why? How does this happen? And the king of everything, the first step to all of this, especially, focusing on chain heal, which is sort of, I believe, since 5.4, the way you would have had to go to off heal enhance, is the glyph of healing storm. Maelstrom weapon is something we get whenever we hit something, every auto attack melee, as well as on use melee, so Storm Strike and Lava Lash. Storm Strike is often something that gets you a nice boost of Maelstrom. It's a little bit random, of course, 20% chance, I believe, to proc by default. Can't be sure on that. Um, Probably find a site that is sure. But hey, so every stack of Maelstrom weapon, what do I get? Well, the normal, in the DPS build, what you get is 20%. Let's not read that one. Go to Maelstrom weapon here. 20% less cast time, and increase its direct healing done by 20%, which is just from the glyph. I believe that tooltip would change if I took the glyph off. Stacks up to 5 times, right? So 5 times 20, 100%. At 5 stacks, I can cast a lightning bolt without hard casting at all. It doesn't interrupt the flow of the auto attack melee, which isn't too important anyway, and that's why there's a lot of theory crafting on should you lightning bolt at 4 or 3 stacks optimally. Um, but nonetheless, you can go to 5 stacks and cast your lightning bolt instantly, or with Glyph of Healing Storm, you can cast, right? So any nature spell with a base cast time shorter than 10 seconds gets that cast time reduction. So Chain Heal. Chain Heal will actually get that reduction from Maelstrom Weapon just by default. And all the Glyph is doing is it's also going to increase the effect of that heal by 20% per stack. So I'm at 5 stacks now, and I've got a weak aura here, this purple thing that makes that electric sound. Tells me, okay, I've got my 5 stacks, I'm not hard casting. If I cast this chain heal now, that's 102k non-crit. Probably had a trinket running as well, buffing that, so we can do another task really quick. Build up stats. Come on, last stack, there we go. Let's go ahead and cancel a lot of these buffs. All we've got is Maelstrom Weapon, Chain Heal. 73k, right? So that was what the crit was before. So it's double. Long story short, it's double the healing. Okay. That actually puts my Chain Heal at a higher amount than a Resto Shaman's default Chain Heal. And that's sort of the potency behind it. But there's more. Okay, so number 2, as far as glyphs, I've got glyph of chaining, increase the jump distance of your chain heal by 100%. Makes it pretty big. Uh, can I do it on an NPC here and get an effect, maybe? Yeah, it's got a nice distance on it. Drawback, of course, is it gives it a 2-second cooldown. Kind of annoying for Resto. That it used to be longer. They buffed the glyph by making it only 2 seconds, so it's pretty decent for Resto as well. But for enhance, you're not going to be spamming the chain heal, right? You're generally going to be casting a chain heal with lots of stacks of Maelstrom, so you have to sort of wait for them anyway. Because casting a chain heal without the stacks is not only hard casting time, but it's a less effective chain heal. So you're generally going to be waiting at least 3 or 4 seconds between chain heals anyway. Sometimes if you time your Storm Strikes and your Lava Lashes just right, you get stacks quicker when you want them. So we're not done yet, right? So already we have, okay, our chain heal is stronger than a Resto Shaman's chain heal. Can't spam it. We've got the Glyph of Chaining, which the Resto Shaman might not take, but it's useful for us. In addition, doing it this way, it costs no mana for me at 5 stacks. It's again in the Maelstrom weapon. Reduce the cast time and mana cost. Forgot to mention that. So we're reducing mana cost by 20% per stack. That's another reason why you want to go to 5 stacks as enhanced. We don't have that much mana, and we don't have that much regen, short of using Water Shield. So let's see if I can continue to spat out information non-organized here. There's one more thing here. Echo of Elements. Echo of the Elements. When one of your spells causes direct damage or healing, you have a chance to gain Echo of the Elements, duplicating that spell's effect. So, I believe it was a couple weeks into the expansion, they changed Echo of the Elements. It might have been the first patch, it might have been 5.1. They changed Echo of the Elements, they looked at it and said, you know what, this talent isn't appealing enough to enhance. It's got a 6% chance to go off in general, so you cast a Lightning Bolt, 6% chance to cast another Lightning Bolt, 6% more damage. Not attractive enough for enhance compared to the other talents. Our Lightning Bolt isn't, 6% more Lightning Bolt damage, not huge. More on the shock, not huge. They made it 30%, and it did make it more attractive for enhance DPS wise. Here's the thing, 30%, right? Now I don't know if this is oversight or intentional. It's probably intentional for Resto Shaman, but we actually get that 30% chance per bounce on Chain Heal, or Chain Lightning for that matter. So quickly, we look at Chain Heal. I don't know what I'm saying, too far away. Heals 4 total targets, 30% chance on each heal to get another Chain Heal. We're talking what? And it's not a 120% chance total. It's a 30% chance to generate another Chain Heal with every bounce. So best case scenario, I'm not putting one chain heal out. I'm putting 5 out, right? If I get that proc on each bounce, I don't know that I've ever seen that many lines, but I'm pretty sure I have seen at least 2 extra chain heals go off at once. I'm pretty sure that I'm not imagining that. Now, those extra chain heals don't benefit from the Maelstrom weapon bonus from our glyph. So they're actually at normal strength, each of those. So if I proc 1 extra chain heal, it's actually half of a Maelstrom chain heal, in a sense. So generally, if I just say, you know what, I'm going to get 1 extra chain heal per chain heal, it's really half of a chain heal. This is a 50% buff to my chain healing. So what do we have? We already have a 100% buff, and we have a 50% buff. So the things start to build up on the momentum of how can this melee DPS class be an off healer. And I'm going to stop the video here and start a new one.